This is Nick from 420expertguide.com, and today I'm going to show you how to use my grow light cost calculator. First, head over to my website, that's 420expertguide.com, and go to the resources section and then click grow light cost calculator. Here I've designed a custom calculator specifically for cannabis growers. Now theoretically, you can use this calculator even if you're growing vegetables or fruits in your home. Just make sure to adjust the inputs for that situation. But if you're growing cannabis, then this is really all laid out for you already. Let me just explain it because at first look, it looks a little complicated. It's really not. Okay, and if you scroll down the page a little bit, you'll see that I manually typed out a few variables, a few examples, and so you can read also step by step how to come up with the calculation. So the first input in the calculator is going to be how many watts does your grow light consume? And be careful that you have the right wattage number. You want the number that the grow light pulls out of the wall and not the number that your grow light LEDs emit. So that can be a little confusing. A lot of manufacturers say 2000 watts. Well, that's because that's the LED wattage. They use 210 watt LEDs, but that's not how much power is coming out of your wall. It's really only taking 600 watts or whatever. So you want that wall number. So let's say you're using a grow light with taking 300 watts from the wall. You're going to put 300 here. Next, you're going to select how many hours per day is your light running. If you're in the vegetative phase of growth, then typically that number is going to be 18 hours a day. But if it's not, you can adjust it for whatever you're using. Next, how many weeks are in your seedling or vegetative or flowering phase? I'm going to first go through the seedling. So seedling is typically 1 week, but you can do 2 weeks too if you leave your seeds for 2 weeks. And then lastly is going to be your electricity cost per kilowatt hour. If you're in the United States, I think the average cost per kilowatt hour in the United States is around 13 cents. But that can vary widely, even state to state. So go to your electricity bill and it should be laid out for you what you're paying per kilowatt hour. Type it in here. Okay. Now, like I said, first I'm going to calculate the seedling period cost. Seedling is typically 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, but I'm going to do 1 week here. Your grow light's pulling 300 watts, you're running it 18 hours a day during the first seedling week, and it's for 1 week long, 13 cents per kilowatt hour, and then you look down to this bottom section here and it's already calculated for you. The cost for your specified growth phase, 1 hour, is $4.91. Now, if you're doing 2 weeks of seedling, you can change the number up here to 2, and you see the total cost is adjusted down here, $9.82. Okay, so now write down this number, $4.91, because we're going to reset the grow light cost calculator now for the next phase of growth. During the vegetative phase of growth, there are 2 things you want to consider. First is how long do you plan to leave your plant in the vegetative phase? Is it going to be a month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks? Up to you, obviously, but make sure you have that number. Second, does your grow light consume a different number of watts when it's well, basically, does the grow light have a light mode specifically for vegetative phase? If it does, then that means that it's typically only going to use less electricity during that phase. So for this example that I did here, there was a grow light that had 2 light modes. In full power, it uses 680 watts, but in the vegetative light mode, it only used 510 watts. So that's something you have to take into consideration. Let's just say that up here, our 300-watt grow light only uses 210 during the vegetative phase. All right. Now you're doing 18 hours a day, and I'm going to run a 6-week vegetative phase. Now, you can see the numbers down here were calculated for you, and your total cost for the specified growth phase is $20.63. Now, add that up to the $4.91 from the previous phase, and so far you're at $25 and change. All right, and then you can see these options down here may or may not apply to you. If you're keeping a mother plant and you're just leaving it for a extended period of time in the vegetative phase, then let's just say maybe for a whole year, then you have the number laid out for you here. All right, now lastly, we're going to look at the flowering phase, and again, consider how long you're going to leave your plant in the flowering phase. Obviously, it may vary when it actually comes down to when you start flowering the plant or when the plant decides it's done, but you can take a look at this and make a rough estimate, and remember to adjust your watts for the full power of the light if you have a dual mode light. All right, so now I'm going to come up here and restore to that 300 watt number for full power of the light. And how many hours per day? It's going to be a 12-hour day when you're in the flowering phase. And how many weeks do you want to flower your plant for? Let's just say 10, but you can insert any number you want. Oops, 10 hours, or 10 weeks, sorry. And then your electricity cost, and look down here, and it's calculated for you. For the specified growth phase, $32.76. All right, so $32.76 plus the 25 from the previous 2 phases. And now you've got 57, maybe $58 for a 300 watt grow light for all 3 phases of cannabis growth. And it's really that simple. Took me all of 5 minutes, might have taken me 2 minutes if I wasn't explaining it step by step. And feel free to read through the article here where I've laid everything out step by step again. And that's about it. Great tool. Thanks, guys. Don't forget to check out the rest of my site and subscribe. Have a great day.